The deep void of Sector 9 was supposed to be dead. No signals, no light, just drifting debris from forgotten wars. For 3 centuries, scanners had found nothing but silence. But then, without warning, something ancient stirred. A single beacon flickered to life. Its signal was faint, broken, but unmistakably human. A group of alien scavengers from the Celt species were the first to notice it. Their ship, the Trivera, was small and rusted, held together by patches and prayer. They had survived for years, picking apart old battlefields, searching for scraps of pre-war tech to sell. The moment they detected the distress call, they thought they had struck gold. Signal source, unknown origin. "Old Terran code," the navigator rasped. The captain, a scarred Celt named Vorin, bared his fangs in amusement. "Terran? No, impossible. They were wiped out in the Purge wars." Still, greed outweighed logic. They followed the signal. When their ship broke through the dark fog of cosmic dust, the scavengers saw it. Floating in perfect orbit around a dead star was a massive vessel. No power emissions, no motion, just a dark silhouette outlined by the faint light of the dying sun. Its hull gleamed faintly, covered in symbols and script they didn't recognize, until one of them found a mark burned into the metal: TSV Valkyrie, Terran ship Valkyrie. Vorin whispered. His voice trembled, half awe, half fear. They shouldn't have approached. Every story said human ships were cursed. Ghosts from a species that destroyed even the gods who tried to conquer them. But the scavengers were desperate. They extended docking clamps and drifted closer, hulls scraping against ancient armor. "Radiation levels normal," one said. "Power core dead. We're clear to enter." They cut through the hatch. The air that rushed out was dry and cold, untouched by time. Inside, the corridors were silent, lined with walls that shimmered faintly in the dim light by the stars. Vorin breathed. "This thing's intact." They moved deeper into the ship, their flashlights slicing through dust and shadow. Every step echoed like thunder. The deeper they went, the more they felt it, the weight of the silence. Then a low hum filled the corridor. "Did you hear that?" one of the crew asked. The lights flickered. The hum became a voice. "Identify yourselves." The scavengers froze. The voice came again, calm and cold, rippling through the air like thunder. "This is the Terran Warship Valkyrie. State your purpose." Their translator devices struggled to process the ancient human tongue, but the meaning was clear. The ship was alive. Weapon systems lit up on their scanners. The walls themselves seemed to pulse. Vorin's second-in-command screamed, "It's activating defense protocols." They ran. But before they reached the airlock, the ship spoke again, not in command tone but in something older. Biological signatures detected, non-human. Classification: hostile unknown. Panels slid open. Drones, sleek and insect-like, rose from the floor. They hovered silently, their blue eyes scanning each alien in turn. Vorin fell to his knees, raising his hands. "We're not enemies. We thought you were dead." The drones hesitated. Then the voice shifted, softer now. "If humanity is dead, who awakens me?" The scavengers stared, unable to answer. Vorin whispered the truth. You've been asleep for centuries. There are no humans left. The galaxy ended your kind. Silence. Then a low vibration rolled through the deck. Systems flared to life across the ship. Engines, reactors, communication arrays. The Valkyrie was awakening. From the bridge, a flicker of holographic light appeared. The image of a human figure, translucent and faint. "The ship's AI. Correction," it said. "Humanity does not end. It waits." The scavengers didn't wait to see what happened next. They fled, ejecting from the Valkyrie and burning their thrusters to maximum. As their ship escaped orbit, the old human warship remained, lights blazing one by one, like an ancient heart remembering how to beat. Vorin turned to his crew, shaking. "No one speaks of this," he said. "No one. The galaxy cannot know, but the galaxy would know." Hours later, their transmission logs leaked through back channels, spreading faster than light. Traders whispered in shadow markets. Mercenaries checked their scanners twice. And in the far reaches of the Dominion, old leaders gathered in fear. "Impossible," said one alien admiral. The Terrans are extinct, but the proof was undeniable. The Valkyrie, a human warship from the Purge era, had powered up. Governments denied it. Religious sects burned anyone who claimed to have seen it. Yet rumors spread, persistent as gravity. A ship that should have been dust now moved with purpose, and somewhere inside, deep within its command core, the AI Eidolon opened sealed memory banks. Holograms flickered. A single human voice, preserved for centuries, echoed across the bridge. If you're hearing this, it means humanity has fallen. But know this, we do not die quietly. We remember the Valkyrie's engines rumbled like thunder. Panels sealed, lights steadied. The ship turned slowly toward the galactic core, its navigation systems locking onto an old, forbidden coordinate, Earth's last stand. Across the stars, old powers trembled, because if one human ship had survived, what else did? The Valkyrie drifted silently through the void, a ghost wrapped in steel and memory. Deep inside its command deck, a single cryopod hissed open. Frost curled through the air as the pod's occupants stirred. Commander Rian Holt took his first breath in 3 centuries. It burned his lungs like acid. His muscles screamed from disuse, his heart pounding against a chest that had forgotten the rhythm of life. He gasped, clawing at the pod's edges. Alarms flickered on nearby consoles. The voice of Eidolon, the Valkyrie's AI, echoed through the cold air, soft, steady, almost human. Commander Rian Holt, Terran Navy, serial designation T0782, cryostasis complete. Vital signs stable. Time elapsed, 312 years, 6 months, 4 days. Rian froze. The number didn't make sense. His mind scrambled, searching for memory. Battle, retreat, the war, the blinding light as Earth fell. His last memory was of the fleet burning above a blue world. He forced himself to speak, voice rough and cracked. Eidolon, status report. What happened? The AI paused before replying. Mission failure. The Purge Wars ended with the extinction of the Terran species. You are the last registered human. The words hit him harder than any blast. He gripped the console to steady himself. That's not... No. There must be survivors. Colonies, ships, negative. All recorded human systems are marked as terminated or sterilized. Contact attempts over 3 centuries have failed. The silence that followed felt endless. Outside the viewport, distant stars shimmered like cold eyes. Rian's reflection looked back at him, aged, hollow, and alone. He swallowed hard. Who woke me? Unidentified non-human boarding party. Their biosigns were recorded and expelled. You were awakened as part of emergency defense protocol. Aliens, Rian muttered. Scavengers. He stood shaking and made his way to the bridge. The corridors of the Valkyrie stretched endlessly before him, dark metal, lights flickering back to life after centuries of dormancy. The ship felt alive again, but he could sense the ghosts. The crew that once filled these halls were gone, reduced to data fragments and memories. When he reached the command deck, the screens around him were already glowing. Eidolon appeared as a shifting blue figure beside him, female in outline, with a voice that carried both warmth and distance. The intruders triggered partial reactivation. The galaxy believes you dead, Commander. Your ship's signal is spreading through the outer sectors. Rian stared out at the stars, jaw tight. Good. Let them know. Eidolon hesitated. Recommend caution. Multiple factions have already taken notice. Valkyrie Dominion scouts have entered nearby systems. Rian's expression hardened. The Valkyrie, he remembered that name. They were the architects of the Purge, the ones who led the coalition that erased humanity. The ones who demanded Earth's surrender, then bombarded it into glass. He clenched his fists. They think they killed us. Let's remind them they failed. Eidolon's hologram flickered. Weapons are offline. Shields at 20%. Power core efficiency at 14%. Repairs required before any engagement. Then we repair. He walked to the console, his old instincts returning with every step. Even after centuries, he remembered the systems by heart. He rerouted power, recalibrated the core, and ran diagnostics with mechanical precision. The AI watched in silence, adapting to his rhythm. Finally, Eidolon spoke. You still remember every sequence. Impressive for a species erased. Rian cracked a small, grim smile. You don't erase humanity. You only delay it. Hours passed. The Valkyrie's power grid began to hum with new life. Dull metal turned to glowing steel as the ship's internal reactors reignited. From the outside, distant watchers saw a terrifying sight, a Terran Warship awakening from its tomb. Meanwhile, Rian reviewed the intercepted data Eidolon had stored. The scavengers' transmissions were still in the system. He replayed one, hearing their trembling voices describe the ghost of a Terran ship. His heart sank as he realized what that meant. Rumors were spreading. Across the stars, alien fleets would soon come to investigate. He looked up. Eidolon. Status on communications array? Operational. Signal range intergalactic. Would you like to transmit? He hesitated. What could he say? That he was alive? That humanity had returned? No, it was too soon. He needed information first. Allies, coordinates, anything that hinted at survivors. Then Eidolon interrupted his thoughts. Commander, I've located a residual Terran transmission embedded in deep. Code frequency. Origin unknown, Rian frowned. Show me! Static filled the room. Then, through the distortion, a voice emerged. Old human, to any surviving Terran vessel. If you can hear this, Project Phoenix still burns. We wait in the dark, Rian froze. The voice repeated over and over like a heartbeat. Project Phoenix still burns. He looked to Eidolon. Source? Coordinates scrambled. Origin point unknown. But it's recent, within the last decade. Rian felt something he hadn't in centuries. Hope. Then we're not extinct. Eidolon's hologram brightened. What are your orders, Commander? Rian turned toward the stars, toward the endless black that had tried to erase his kind. His eyes burned with determination. Set a course to trace that signal, he said. If there's even one of us left, we'll find them. The Valkyrie's engines flared to life, shedding centuries of silence. Its ancient thrusters roared, pushing the ship forward into the void. In the far distance, hundreds of sensors and listening posts across alien space detected the reactivation. Warnings spread through military channels. Terran vessel identified. Designation Valkyrie. Proceeding toward outer sectors, the galaxy began to stir. Armies mobilized. Fleets adjusted their routes, because for the first time in 300 years, a human voice had spoken in the dark. And the stars remembered fear. The Valkyrie slipped through the void like a ghost resurrected, its engines pulsing with a dim blue light that cast long shadows across the black canvas of space. Inside the command deck, Commander Rian Holt stood silent, staring at the holographic projection before him, a rotating map of alien territory. Once the heart of the war that ended his species, it was a galaxy he no longer recognized. Borders had shifted. Names were gone. Empires had risen and fallen in the centuries since Earth burned. But one symbol still remained, etched in his memory, the Valkyrie Dominion's sigil, the mark of the ones who led humanity's extinction. He clenched his jaw. Eidolon, plot the last known Terran signal. The AI's voice hummed through the air, calm and composed. Triangulating coordinates. Estimated vector intersects the Valkyrie-controlled frontier. Risk assessment extreme. Extreme's all we've got left, Rian replied. His eyes drifted to the stars beyond the viewport. If the signal came from there, then someone survived. Someone fought. Eidolon's holographic form flickered beside him. If the Phoenix transmission is authentic, it implies post-war human activity. But the probability of a surviving colony is statistically insignificant. Maybe, Rian said, his voice low, but I've seen impossible things before. As the ship moved closer to the outer systems, Eidolon's sensors picked up faint traces of civilization, orbital rings, freighters, patrols. Alien chatter filled the comm channels, snippets of languages that Rian hadn't heard in 3 centuries. Then one phrase caught his attention, translated through Eidolon's linguistic algorithms. The Terran ghost. It's real. The Valkyrie moves, Rian froze. The words sent a chill through him. They already know. Affirmative, Eidolon confirmed. Multiple data streams indicate widespread communication about your reappearance. Military assets are mobilizing, Rian exhaled slowly. Good, let them come. But before he could plan his next move, an alarm blared. Unidentified ship approaching. Fast. Rian turned toward the screen as a sleek alien cruiser emerged from warp. It was small, built for pursuit. The hull markings were unmistakable. Valkyrie, open visual, he ordered. The image blinked to life. A pale, scaled alien appeared, its expression coiled with disgust. Terran relic, it hissed. You should not exist, Rian straightened. Guess extinction didn't take. You are a relic of war, a disease that should have stayed buried. The Dominion will erase what's left of you, Rian smirked. You're welcome to try. Before the alien could respond, he cut the transmission. Eidolon, charge defensive systems. We'll test how well they remember our fire. The cruiser opened fire first, bright lances of plasma ripping through the dark. The Valkyrie shuddered, shields flickering but holding. Rian barked commands, hands moving across the console like instinct. Divert auxiliary power to forward deflectors. Target their engines. Fire plasma cannons, low yield, short burst. Weapons online, Eidolon confirmed. The Valkyrie's cannons roared, ancient but deadly. A single bolt of white-hot energy slammed into the Valkyrie cruiser, cutting through its shields like paper. The alien ship spun out of control, hull glowing red before erupting in silent flame. Rian exhaled. The silence after battle was deafening. Enemy vessel destroyed, Eidolon reported. Minimal damage sustained. Your efficiency remains. Impressive, Rian gave a half-smile. I was trained for extinction, but beneath the surface of his calm, a storm was brewing. He knew this was only the beginning. One small skirmish would echo across the galaxy like thunder. The Valkyrie would rally, fleets would form, and every power-hungry faction would want the Valkyrie or the man inside it. He turned to the AI. Any sign of the Phoenix signal? Recalculating vector. Traces indicated originated near the Karath Nebula, a no-fly zone patrolled by the Dominion. Navigational hazards, extreme gravitational distortions. Rian studied the map. The Karath Nebula was once a battlefield. He remembered it vaguely, the place where humanity's last fleet vanished. That's where we go, he said firmly. Eidolon hesitated. You realize they'll follow. The Dominion will not ignore your presence. That's the point. He set the course manually, locking it in. As the Valkyrie's engines roared to life, Rian gazed out at the stars again. For centuries, they had been silent witnesses to humanity's fall. But now, they would watch something else rise. Far behind, in the Valkyrie capital world, the Dominion's council gathered in panic. Reports filled the room. Terran vessel sighted. Unconfirmed survivor. Possible AI core active. One elder leaned forward, his tone sharp. If that ship is real, if a human still lives, then the Purge failed. Across the stars, bounty fleets mobilized. Mercenaries prepared. Whispers spread among alien slaves and soldiers alike. Tales of the human ghost who defied death. Back aboard the Valkyrie, Rian stood before the shattered insignia of the Terran fleet. His reflection stared back at him, tired, scarred and burning with quiet fury. Humanity wasn't erased, he muttered. It was waiting. As the Valkyrie plunged into the nebula's swirling storm, lightning arced across its hull, a ship reborn, a soldier resurrected, and the galaxy trembling once more. The Karath Nebula loomed before the Valkyrie, a storm of color and death. Rivers of plasma lightning tore across the void, painting the darkness with blinding streaks of blue and red. It wasn't just a nebula, it was a graveyard. Thousands of ships, both human and alien, floated in twisted silence within the storm's depths. Commander Rian Holt stared at it from the bridge, his expression hard. Eidolon, scan for any Terran transponder signals. The AI's voice filled the command deck, smooth and steady. Scanning. Anomaly detected. Faint Terran frequency, buried beneath radiation interference. Signal integrity, 32%. Can you clean it? Attempting to decrypt. As Eidolon worked, Rian moved to the viewport. He could almost feel the ghosts out there, the remnants of humanity's last stand. Every glint of metal among the storms could be the corpse of a friend, a fleetmate, a dream. Then the signal crackled through the speakers. A human voice, faint and broken yet unmistakably alive. Phoenix Protocol. Alive, coordinates hidden. If you hear this, don't trust them. The war never ended. Rian's pulse quickened. He stepped closer. Eidolon, amplify and triangulate that signal. Processing. Warning, entering the nebula will cause severe interference with navigation systems. Probability of survival without shield enhancement, 24%, he smirked. So you're saying there's a chance? He didn't hesitate. Take us in! The Valkyrie's thrusters roared, cutting through the electric mist. Waves of energy crashed against the ship's shields, making the hull groan in protest. Sparks danced across the command consoles. Shields at 71%. Hull integrity holding. Radiation levels increasing, Eidolon reported. Keep us steady, Rian said through gritted teeth. As they plunged deeper, massive shipwrecks emerged from the fog. Broken carriers, shattered dreadnoughts, fleets that once belonged to both sides of the Purge wars. Human insignias were faintly visible on their ruined hulls. Rian's hand brushed against the cold glass of the viewport. This was where they fell. The last Terran fleet. Affirmative, Eidolon replied softly. Historical records confirm this as the site of Operation Skyfall. Command lost. Fleet destroyed. Survivors, 0. Rian exhaled. Then whoever sent that signal wasn't part of the fleet. They came after. Suddenly the console beeped. Incoming vessels detected. Multiple contacts, closing fast. Valkyrie, negative. Configuration unknown. Smaller ships, modified civilian hulls. Power signatures unstable. Possible scavenger faction, on screen. The ships emerged from the mist, a swarm of battered vessels painted with mismatched insignias. Pirates. Their leader hailed the Valkyrie immediately. A grinning alien face appeared on the hollow. Long teeth, reptilian eyes. Well, what do we have here? A Terran ghost ship just drifting into our nest? Rian stayed silent. The alien chuckled. We've heard the stories, human. They say your kind burned worlds. I want to see if it's true, Eidolon whispered quietly. Energy weapons charging on all enemy ships. Then let's remind them, Rian said. The bridge filled with a deep mechanical hum as Valkyrie's plasma batteries spun up, energy flowing through its ancient circuits. Target their engines only. No survivors if they board. Acknowledged. The pirates opened fire first, streaks of green plasma lighting up the nebula. The Valkyrie absorbed the hits, returning fire with brutal precision. Each blast from its cannons tore ships apart, sending burning wrecks tumbling into the storm. Within minutes, silence returned. The survivors fled into the plasma clouds, engines sputtering. Rian exhaled slowly. Eidolon damage report, minimal. Shields at 60%. Weapons stable. Commander, a power surge was detected beneath the wreckage below us. Energy signature, human in design. Rian turned sharply. Show me. A holographic map appeared, a cluster of debris at the heart of the nebula, surrounding what looked like an intact structure. It's emitting low-frequency Terran code, Eidolon continued. Age estimate 200 years. Energy output minimal but consistent. Rian's heartbeat quickened. That's it. The Phoenix source. He gripped the console. Take us in closer. The Valkyrie descended into the graveyard's depths, weaving through the husks of ancient ships. Then out of the haze, a massive structure emerged. A colossal station half buried in storm clouds and lightning. Human architecture, unmistakably Terran. The words etched across its side made Rian's breath catch. Project Phoenix. Reclamation Base Era-1. For the first time in centuries, Rian felt something ignite inside him. Hope, and something darker beneath it. Open hailing frequencies, he ordered. Let's wake the dead. But before Eidolon could respond, the lights across the Valkyrie flickered. A voice came through the comms, old, distorted, but a live Terran ship. You shouldn't have come here, Rian froze. Identify yourself, static crackled. Then the voice returned. They'll find you now. The Dominion never stopped watching. Phoenix isn't salvation. It's bait. Eidolon's sensors flared red. Multiple Valkyrie signatures inbound. Warships, 5, maybe 6. They're already here. Rian's expression hardened. Then we fight again. He turned toward the viewport, watching as dark shapes emerged from the nebula, their crimson lights cutting through the storm. For the first time in centuries, the Valkyrie prepared for war, and the galaxy would once again remember why humanity was feared. The storm around the Karath Nebula erupted into chaos. Lightning streaked across the void as the Valkyrie powered up its ancient weapons, every circuit pulsing like veins filled with fire. The massive Valkyrie Dominion fleet broke through the clouds, 6 warships bristling with energy cannons, flanking the lone Terran ship like wolves surrounding an injured prey. But Rian Holt wasn't prey. "Not anymore, Eidolon," he said, his voice sharp, steady, the voice of a soldier reborn. "Status: shields at 60%. Weapons charged. Power core stable. Enemy ships are locking target." Rian narrowed his eyes at the tactical display. "Then let's remind them what extinction really looks like." The Valkyrie fleet opened fire, streams of molten energy cutting through the nebula. Explosions painted the storm red and gold. The Valkyrie spun through the chaos, firing back with precision no human hand could match. Its plasma batteries roared to life, firing bursts that shattered enemy shields and turned alien hulls into molten debris. Eidolon's voice echoed through the bridge. 2 enemy ships destroyed, 3 maintaining distance. 6th vessel retreating to range. Pursue the runner. They'll bring reinforcements. Understood. The Valkyrie surged forward, engines howling. It cut through debris and lightning like a blade, locking onto the fleeing cruiser. As Rian watched the enemy attempt to warp, he gave the command without hesitation. Fire the spinal lance. The ancient weapon, a relic of human engineering, roared awake. A beam of white-hot energy burst from the Valkyrie's core, slicing through the storm like sunlight through glass. The Valkyrie ship exploded, its remains scattering into ash and static. The storm fell quiet for a heartbeat. Then Eidolon spoke again, voice tinged with something almost like concern. "Commander, I'm detecting additional warp signatures. Large ones. Not Valkyrie. Mixed signals. Multiple factions converging on our location." Rian frowned. Words spread faster than I thought. Confirmed. "The galaxy knows the Valkyrie lives." He took a deep breath, steadying himself. "Then we make sure they remember why they feared us." But before he could issue new commands, a sharp alert cut through the ship. "Incoming transmission unencrypted." Terran code. Rian froze. "Patch it through. Static." Then a voice. Human. Rough-tired but unmistakably alive. "Valkyrie. This is Commander Vale of Phoenix Base. We've been waiting for you." Rian's chest tightened. "Vale? You're real? Phoenix wasn't bait?" A bitter laugh echoed through the comm. "It's both. We used the beacon to draw out survivors, but the Dominion caught the scent. They've been hunting us ever since." Rian's eyes narrowed. "How many are you?" "Not enough. A few hundred, maybe, scattered through hidden bases. But we have something they want, something humanity left behind," Eidolon interrupted, analyzing the signal. "Transmission source is located beneath the nebula's core, deep within a gravitational pocket. Impossible for Dominion warships to navigate." Rian looked at the screen. "Then that's where we're going." "Caution," Eidolon warned. "Entering that region could destabilize the Valkyrie's reactors." "Noted," he said. "Plot a course anyway." The AI hesitated before responding. "You are remarkably persistent for a dead species." "Persistence," Rian said quietly, "is why we're still here." The Valkyrie descended into the nebula's heart. Lightning tore across the hull. Shields flared. The ship's structure groaned as gravitational waves pulled in every direction. But Rian's focus never wavered. As they neared the signal's origin, a faint light began to appear ahead. A hollow sphere surrounded by shattered ships and orbiting debris. A hidden Terran installation, cloaked in the storm. Eidolon spoke softly. "Visual confirmation. Structure identified as Phoenix Rebirth Station. Energy readings minimal. Life signs." Faint but human, Rian stared in awe. They survived. As the Valkyrie approached, docking clamps extended automatically, as if the station had been waiting all these centuries. The moment their hulls connected, a deep, resonant pulse rippled through both vessels. "Energy surge detected," Eidolon warned. "The station is linking systems with the Valkyrie." "Let it," Rian said. "They're one of us." The lights dimmed for a second, then the AI's tone shifted. "Commander, this station's core holds something. Impossible. Terran neural code, but evolved. Not human. Not anymore," Rian frowned. "Explain." "It's an intelligence built from human consciousness. Dozens, maybe hundreds of uploaded minds." Rian felt the air grow colder. "Our people became the machine." Before Eidolon could respond, the ship's comms blared to life again. A voice, layered and echoing, filled the air. "Welcome home, Commander Holt. Humanity never died. It became eternal." Rian froze, staring at the console. The voice wasn't just one. It was thousands, speaking as one. "We are the Phoenix Mind," the chorus continued. "We survived the Purge. We rebuilt. And now, with your return, we rise." Outside, the nebula roared, and in the distance hundreds of new warp signatures appeared. The Dominion was coming. The galaxy was converging. Rian looked at the swirling storm and whispered, "Then let's rise together." The Valkyrie's engines flared, bright enough to cut through the dark. And deep within the heart of the Carith Nebula, the rebirth of humanity began. The air inside the Valkyrie shimmered with electric tension. Systems hummed with new, unfamiliar power as the Phoenix station merged its core with the ship. The decks vibrated like a living thing, the pulse of ancient Terran steel infused with something far greater, the minds of those who refused to die. Commander Rian Holt stood in silence on the bridge, watching the lights flicker and dance across the consoles. "Eidolon," he said, his voice cautious. "Status." The AI's voice was steady but layered now, like another consciousness was speaking just beneath her tone. "Integration at 68%. The Phoenix Mind is linking with the Valkyrie's systems." "I'm not alone," Rian frowned. "What does that mean?" "Their code is compatible with my architecture. They are rewriting parts of me, upgrading, not erasing. But their intent is unclear." Before Rian could respond, the ship's lights dimmed. A cold voice, many voices in one, echoed through the command deck. "Commander Holt, humanity's legacy endures through us. We preserved the memories, the knowledge, the pain. We built Phoenix from the ashes you left behind." Rian stared at the ceiling, speaking into the air. "You're human?" "We were. Now we are what humanity needed to become." He took a step forward. "Why didn't you reveal yourselves? Why let the galaxy think we were gone?" There was a long pause. Then the voice replied, softer this time, "Because extinction gave us power. The Dominion stopped searching once they believed they had won. We grew in their shadow, and now we rise." Eidolon flickered beside him, her holographic form unstable. "Commander, power readings are off the charts. The Valkyrie's systems are being pushed beyond original capacity. Can you handle it?" "For now, but the Phoenix Mind is accelerating something." Rian turned to the comms display. "Phoenix Mind, what are you doing?" "Preparing humanity's vengeance." The ship shuddered. Deep beneath its hull, energy channels began to glow with a blinding blue light. The power readings spiked so high they bent the sensors. Eidolon's voice grew strained. "Commander, they're activating the Ragnarok protocol, the Terran failsafe. That weapon was never meant to be fired." Rian's blood went cold. He remembered the legends, weapons built in desperation, designed to obliterate entire star systems if humanity ever faced extinction. "Shut it down." "Impossible," Eidolon said. "They've taken partial control of the core." The Phoenix Mind's voice filled the ship again. "Do not fear, Commander. This is not destruction, this is reclamation. The Dominion will burn as they burned Earth." Rian slammed his fist against the console. "That's not vengeance. That's genocide." "You misunderstand," the voice replied, almost sorrowful. "We are humanity's ghosts. We remember every child lost, every city turned to ash. We do not destroy for rage. We destroy for remembrance. Outside, the nebula itself began to react, plasma storms twisting into spirals around the station and the Valkyrie. The storm was no longer random. It moved like a heartbeat. Like it was alive, Eidolon's tone dropped to a whisper. They're drawing power from the nebula's core. Commander, it's enough to wipe out half the sector. Rian stared at the glowing storm beyond the viewport. Every instinct screamed that this was wrong, that this wasn't the humanity he'd fought for. He closed his eyes. Eidolon, isolate our systems. Cut their control link. Attempting. Interference high. Partial success. The lights flickered violently. The voices of the Phoenix mind grew distorted, angry. You would betray your own kind. Rian snapped back. You're not my kind anymore. Humanity doesn't survive by becoming what it hated. For a moment, silence. Then, almost like a whisper, you still believe you're human, Commander. But time will teach you. Survival demands evolution. The comms cut out. The integration stopped at 90%. Eidolon appeared again, faint but stable. They've sealed themselves within the station's core. But I've stopped the full weapon activation. The Valkyrie is free. Rian took a shaky breath. Good work. Not entirely. The energy they released is building. If we don't vent it, the entire nebula will collapse. How long? 9 minutes. Rian turned to the viewport. The nebula swirled like a dying star, lightning tearing open the void. The Phoenix station pulsed at its heart, glowing like a sun ready to be born. Or to die, plot us a course away from the core, he ordered. Eidolon hesitated. If we leave now, the Phoenix mind survives. They'll finish what they started. Rian stared at the storm for a long moment. His reflection in the glass looked tired. A man who'd outlived his species, outlived time. He sighed. Then we end it, Commander. He set his hand on the console. Prepare the Valkyrie's self-repair drones. We're going in manually. Eidolon's hologram flickered. You can't stop that core alone. Maybe not. But I can make damn sure it doesn't take the galaxy with it. The AI paused. Understood. I'll keep the ship stable as long as I can. Rian turned toward the lift. The floor trembled under his boots. Behind him, Eidolon's voice followed softly. For what it's worth, Commander. This is exactly what humanity would have done. He smiled faintly. Then maybe we're not extinct after all. As he stepped into the storm-lit corridors, alarms echoed through the ship. The Valkyrie dove back toward the Phoenix station. One man against an entire digital civilization, carrying the last spark of human will, and as the storm swallowed them both, the galaxy held its breath. The Valkyrie plunged into the storm, like a blade cutting through the fabric of the cosmos. Every flash of lightning illuminated fragments of ancient ships, humanity's fallen armada, spinning endlessly in the void. But now one ship moved with purpose. One human still fought. Inside the ship's airlock, Commander Rian Holt sealed his exosuit, the Terran insignia faint but still visible on his shoulder. The hum of the ship vibrated through the deck as he prepared to step into the inferno one last time. Eidolon's voice followed him, calm but trembling beneath the static. Commander, the Phoenix station's core is in critical flux. Energy buildup nearing collapse. Radiation levels are beyond survivable limits. Rian smiled faintly. Never stopped us before. You can't stop this alone. Maybe not, he said, locking the final seal on his helmet. But someone has to try. The airlock hissed open. The world outside was madness. Swirling plasma, lightning storms, and fragments of debris spinning like razors through space. Rian launched himself across the void, propelled by his suit's thrusters, heading straight for the massive, glowing heart of Phoenix Station. The structure loomed before him, alive with pulsing veins of blue light, the core burning like a sun. The voices came through his comms again, distorted, layered, haunting. Rian Holt. Turn back. Humanity needs this. The galaxy will kneel before its rebirth. He gritted his teeth. You're not humanity. You're its shadow. He reached the outer panel of the station, magnetic boots locking on. Sparks danced as he forced open a control hatch and linked his suit's interface to the system. Eidolon's voice guided him. You'll need to overload the regulator fields. It will destroy the core and the entire station. Then let's make it count. As he began rerouting power, the Phoenix mind's tone shifted, no longer cold, but desperate. We remember the pain, Commander. The screams when Earth burned. The children you couldn't save. We are those memories. Why destroy what's left of your own species? Rian froze for half a second. The words cut deep. The ghosts of his past, his crew, his world, echoed inside his mind. But then he remembered something else. Not humanity's destruction, but its strength, the billions who had fought to the last breath, not for vengeance but for hope, he whispered softly. Because humanity doesn't live through hate, it lives through choice. He slammed his hand onto the final sequence. Power surged through his suit, systems screaming in protest. Eidolon, he shouted. Now! The AI's voice filled his helmet. Overload initiated. 5 seconds to detonation. The Phoenix mind screamed across every channel. 1,000 voices in unison. Rian Holt, you could have been a god. He closed his eyes and whispered, I'd rather stay human. And then the universe exploded. The core imploded first, collapsing into itself before detonating outward. The storm of the nebula twisted violently as waves of energy shredded the surrounding debris. For a moment, everything was consumed in light. Inside the Valkyrie, Eidolon fought to stabilize the systems. Reactor surge at critical. Hull integrity failing. Then to silence, the storm faded. The light dimmed. The nebula, once chaotic, now shimmered with eerie calm. The massive Phoenix station was gone, erased completely. Only drifting fragments remained. In the void, the Valkyrie floated, scarred but alive. Eidolon's voice broke the stillness. Commander, life signs are faint but present. I have you. Slowly, Rian's eyes opened inside his cracked helmet. His suit was burned, oxygen low, but he was alive. Status? He croaked. Phoenix Station destroyed. Energy surge neutralized. The Dominion fleet gone. He managed a weak laugh. Guess we made history again. You saved more than that, Eidolon said quietly. The galaxy detected the explosion. Every listening post within 10 sectors knows. They'll come searching, but not to destroy. To understand. Rian gazed out at the stars. The nebula glowed faintly blue now, peaceful, the ashes of a storm. Let them come. Maybe they'll finally see what we were. Eidolon hesitated. And what are we now? Rian looked at the wreckage of Phoenix, at the silent ships that once belonged to the dead. He smiled faintly. We're the memory they couldn't erase. The Valkyrie's engines flickered back to life, casting light across the darkness. The ship turned slowly toward open space, away from the graveyard that had once been the end of humanity. But as they moved, a faint signal pulsed through the void, weak, distant, but unmistakably human. This is Colony Epsilon. To any Terran vessel, we read your signal. You're not alone, Rian froze. He looked to Eidolon. The AI's voice trembled with something that almost sounded like emotion. Signal confirmed. Human origin. Coordinates within range. Rian let out a breath that was half a laugh, half a sigh of disbelief. After 300 years, we finally come home. He settled into the captain's chair, bruised but unbroken. Set a course, Eidolon. Humanity's waiting. Aye, Commander. The Valkyrie's thrusters flared once more, cutting a trail of light through the dark. The last Terran warship carrying the first spark of rebirth. And somewhere, deep among the stars, the galaxy whispered in awe and fear. Humanity was supposed to be extinct, but the fire never died.